179 straight days of Clippers talk.
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
And Kawhi, they say we've done 179 straight shows for you guys. Haven't missed a day since October 4th.
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
I'm Adam Osland. Welcome in. Good to be with you guys after a big Clippers victory last night. One of their best of the season, especially with only 7 games left. Everything's magnified, and that felt a little bit like a playoff type of preview with the level of defense we saw from both teams in Orlando yesterday, and the Clippers 96-87 victory over the Magic. Why not the Clippers is in here first. Appreciate you guys. Decking Fantastic. Of course, he's here. Decking Fantastic said 1 of 180. Can't wait till 1080. Whoa. I'm not planning on doing a show every day during the off season. I would do it if I could make enough money doing it, but that could be problematic. But we're at 179 straight days. Yeah, I would love to. Alex Webb said, see you all back at the Dome tomorrow. We'll see you there for Clippers Pelicans. Hip to Clip said it's our year. All right, 1 off 180 is what Decca Fantastic meant to say.
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
We'll be at 180 tomorrow, God willing, when we have pregame for you at 6:30. Clippers Pels at Intuit Dome. People are requesting now some of our sound bites.
Get out there, Ben, and put that shit up, dog. Put it up, Ben.
Alex Webb said, put it up, Ben.
Put it up, Ben. Put it up, Ben.
Expect Ben Simmons to be back tomorrow. He's still not playing back-to-backs. He's had multiple back injuries and recently had the left knee injury with the Clippers. Okay, if you guys missed it, by the way, programming note, I went on the Fear the Fro podcast a couple days ago. If you guys want to check that out with my friend Bob Schmidt, and joined him after that was right after the Clippers lost to Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't know if that's still relevant to you, but I thought I should at least promote it. Bob is my friend. So we're going to get into a topic that a lot of you guys have been talking about recently. I keep seeing this stuff. In fact, I will draw from some of the tweets I got last night during the ball game of people saying, oh, what's Coach Lou doing? They said nastier stuff than that. But when it came to start the starting lineup and still having Kris Dunn out there and Kris Dunn closing the game, we'll get into that. We will.
It can always be worse.
It can always be worse. And you know what? That was Ivica Zubac. And the reason I played that is because last night we heard from Triple J, as we can get into a little bit of a standings update to start things off. But first of all, I don't think I gave Ivica Zubac enough love for how good he was in that game. Because too often we get to the counting stats and we look at scoring and like that's the only way you can make an impact on a game. Couldn't be further from the truth. But Ivica Zubac finished with, it's not that I gave him no love, but you know me. I am extensive and effusive with my praise for Ivica Zubac and always have been. Long before this season, he had 18 and 20, but 9 offensive rebounds. Some of those might have been off of his 3 misses. He was 7 of 10 from the field. Okay, whatever. Even if you took it down to 6, that's a huge number. The Clippers out-rebounded them on the offensive glass 11-6 in Orlando. Those 9 offensive rebounds, along with the 7 steals that James Harden got, are a big reason the Clippers won that game because they won the possession battle that way. They were awesome. Ivica Zubac was great. So sometimes, you got to look past the scoring numbers. James Harden had 20. Ivica Zubac had 18. They were good there. But how they won this game was doing the little things, the dirty work out there. Completely. So just want to make note of that. And then also when I played, it can always be worse from Big Zoo.
It can always be worse.
That was back when the Clippers were losing post All-Star break. We heard this from Jaren Jackson Jr. last night. This was a little bit alarming. I'm sure if you're a Memphis Grizzlies fan.
I mean, we've had wins, we've had losses. Ain't no reason to feel like crazy. Like it always could be worse. You could be homeless. So.
Okay, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Maybe I can find one with better quality here.
The Grizzlies
Jaren
lost
Jackson.
this season.
Okay.
On the thing, so we've got another one tomorrow. That's what it's like in a back-to-back, and we just got to come with it. Got to have that urgency. We don't have many games left to feel a way about anything. I mean, we've had wins, we've had losses. Ain't no reason to feel like crazy. Like it always could be worse. You could be homeless.
Okay, they're in a bad spot.
It can always be worse.
It can always be worse. You could be Memphis right now. Now you can say they're still ahead of the Clippers in the standings. It could be temporary, judging by their schedule, judging by the difficult road they have less left to finish out this season. So let's talk about it. They would fall again to the Boston Celtics in a game they were up double digits in the first half, 117-103 at home. Tonight, they got the Golden State Warriors at home. That's kind of, Clippers can't really lose there. Golden State loses, that's good for the Clippers. Memphis loses, that's good for the Clippers. Because you look at the standings watch right now, and we've been doing standings watch for a couple of weeks here on Clippers Talk. We started Kawhi watch. How dare you, darn Baziri. Just kidding. Memphis is now 44-31. The Clippers are 43-32. So they have one more loss and one less victory. They have the tiebreaker over Memphis. No, they can't pass them if Memphis loses tonight. But we're getting dangerously close to that possibility. I think it's happening. If I had to guess, I think Memphis is going to drop out of being a top 6 team. And so therefore, we're not talking about 3 teams vying for one top 6 spot between the Clippers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Golden State Warriors. We're talking about 2 spots opening up. Right now, Golden State is in the 6th spot. They're playing in Memphis, and the Grizzlies are in the 5 spot, right in front of them. Let's see if Golden State has the tiebreaker or would if they win that game tonight against Memphis. I want to see their situation. So they won the first game against them this season. They lost the second game. They won the third game. Yes, they win this game. They have the tiebreaker over them. And they could jump into that 5 spot. Memphis could drop to 6th, but here's the other thing, the other part of the equation. Tonight, Minnesota, they're in the 7th spot, right in front of the Clippers, have the same record as them at 43-32, but they have the tiebreaker over them, so they're in the 7th spot, Clippers in the 8th spot. And maybe, you know what, I could share the damn screen. We have the capabilities here, Adam. Might as well. So look at this. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I hope it's not too bad.
Not too bad, I hope.
The resolution. If Minnesota, man, we're doing some hate watch right now. If Minnesota loses tonight, as they are in Denver, the Clippers could jump in front of them. So let's say Golden State wins, Minnesota loses, Clippers will be in 7th, Memphis will be in 6th, Golden State will be in the 5 spot. Pretty sure I got that right. Golden State is in Memphis. The Timberwolves are in Denver tonight. And the Timberwolves will be missing some players in this ball game. After the brouhaha, it wasn't too bad.
Not too bad, I hope.
It wasn't too bad. Their kerfluffle the other night, they got into that fight with Detroit and beef stew Isaiah Stewart. Stewart is out for 2 games, but Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid are out for 1 game tonight when the Timberwolves are in Denver taking on the Nuggets. Problematic for them. That's a problem. Ali said Lakers versus Clippers would be a fun first round. For who? I think that would be hell for everyone involved. It's going 6 or 7. Lakers fans can't lose to the team they deem little brother. Clippers fans can't lose to Big Bro and give the Lakers something else to hold over their heads. I think that's a war. I don't know if that would be fun. I don't like the matchup, and I've told you guys this for at least a month now. And the problem is in this series, while this person points out Zoo would bully them, okay. On the offensive end, he should be able to, but the way their defense rotates at their best and the way they scramble, they can give them issues. We know the Clippers have had trouble getting Ivica Zubac the ball at times when he gets doubled or they zone it.
It can always be worse.
On the defensive side, here's the problem. They're going to keep pulling Ivica Zubac away from the basket over and over again, like we have seen in past series, 3 of them with Luka Doncic with Dallas. Well, now he's with the Lakers. They'll do the exact same thing. They'll bring him up. They'll have whoever he is guarding screen for Luka. Ivica Zubac will be on an island against him. And good luck. People have talked about pre-switching. It's like, it's not easy to do. And while you're having somebody else jump up there instead of Ivica Zubac, and then Zubac has to cover for that guy's man, Luka can find that guy and get an open look that way. It will be hell. Especially because it's not just Luka who will do that against Ivica Zubac. It will be LeBron James, who has turned himself into a 40% three-point shooter. It's actually been better the last 2 years than Luka in three-point shooting. So they have 2 guys that can spam that over and over again against Ivica Zubac. That's why I don't love the matchup. If it happens, so be it. It's on. We'll put on our war paint. I'll be bringing up parallels to 2002 Kings Lakers, which took years off my life. I'm just warning you ahead of time. If that series happens, that's what the Lakers are going to do. They're going to try to play Ivica Zubac off the floor. I don't think you can win that series if Ivica Zubac is not playing 35 minutes a night. Plus. He's one of their biggest advantages. But, unfortunately, the Lakers have a way to try to neutralize him and his great rim protection by getting him in switches onto Luka and LeBron. So, Lakers versus Clippers would be a fun first round, Ali. Zoo will bully them. I'm not so sure about any of that statement. I'm not. But if it happens, it happens. If he dies, we die. If he dies, he dies. Alex Webb said, we wouldn't just play the Lakers. We would play against the refs also in that series. Well, the Lakers seem to get a lot of calls for some reason. I don't know what the reason is, but they seem to get them. Now, back to the standings. So tonight, what do you guys want? Do you want Memphis to lose or Golden State to lose in that matchup? I think I know that you want Denver to win at home against Minnesota. I'm pretty sure about that. There's another reason you might want that. Because Denver might be able to chase down the Houston Rockets. They will be able to chase down Houston. And therefore, you can get Denver out of that 3 spot. So if the Clippers end up in 6th, they're not playing Denver in the first round, and they have a better chance of playing the Houston Rockets in the first round. Now, I want to see who has the tiebreaker currently between the Nuggets and the Houston Rockets. I think I've done this before, but there's a lot going on, a lot of strands, a lot of things I've been trying to keep track of. So, Nuggets lost the first game to Houston this season. Let's see how many more times they have played here. Lost the first game. Won the last game. And then they play the Houston Rockets the final game of the season, which could decide the tiebreaker. They're 1-1 right now against one another. It will decide the tiebreaker. But will it decide who is the 2 seed or the 3 seed? Yet to be determined. I think the majority of you would rather see Houston in the first round than the Denver Nuggets. I'm not saying that Houston game or that Houston series would be easy, but it can always be worse.
It can always be worse.
You could have to play Jokic, who's going to play 41 minutes a night in a 7-game series. So you better win those 7 minutes when he's off the floor, because it's going to be tough to win the Jokic minutes. He's a 3-time regular season MVP, a finals MVP. I think he's still the best player in the game. Yes, SGA is going to win the MVP regular season-wise this season. I think there's some Jokic fatigue there, and OKC is 16 games better than Denver, but I still think Jokic is the best player in the game. Despite his lack of defense, although a lot of the analytics will tell you it's not as bad as you think, they are a poor defensive team this season. Will Mike Malone have them playing better in the playoffs? Have they had some injuries, like to Aaron Gordon, that have hurt them in that area? Yes. I would prefer Houston. But I don't think, by any stretch of the imagination, the Houston Rockets would be an easy series. I just watched that game against the Lakers last night. Lakers would win. Houston has inexperience on working against them. However, they're still 8-2 their last 10 games. They have been surging. Their offense has been playing much better overall, even though that was kind of a rock fight against the Lakers last night, just like the Clippers were in that defensive battle against Orlando yesterday. Their offense has been playing better. Amen Thompson, here's what worries me about Houston. Şengün, good player, but I think he can be neutralized. Amen Thompson is their most talented and best player. Jalen Green wasn't even playing at times late in the fourth quarter against the Lakers. Ime Udoka is a really good head coach. That's something that worries me against them with his scheming. And also, what makes them dangerous is you can say there's an experience like I just did. But that also means you don't know what's going to happen with some of these young guys in a playoff setting. What if Amen Thompson or Tari Eason turn into complete killers in a playoff series? What if they rise to the moment? They haven't been tested in that environment. What if they're clutch gods? What if Jabari Smith Jr. is? What if they turn into Dwayne Wade in his first playoff series where you found out real quick, oh, this guy's good. Oh, this guy will meet the moment, rise to the occasion. He's a killer. He lives for it. I don't know what Amen Thompson is capable of in a playoff series yet. And sometimes the devil you know is better than the one you don't. We at least know what's going to happen with Denver, who they're going to play through, who their main guys are. Their defense hasn't been great in the regular season. Houston's has, and now their offense has gotten better. And they have young guys that are wild cards that could go either way. They could crumble under the pressure as young players in a playoff series, or they could show out like Donovan Mitchell with Utah in 2017 or 2018 against OKC. That's worrisome. People are saying Harden plays good in Houston. Houston has guys to slow him down with. That's not why Jalen Green. Yawning tears. Oh, God. Yawning. That's not why Jalen Green didn't play late in that ball game. They weren't light years-ing this. They weren't trying to lose that game. Did you see how hard they played last night? They lost because the Lakers were better. If they wanted to throw the game, there would have been plenty of other paths to do so. Jalen Green was 4 of 13 from the field. He had 9 points. That's the reason he didn't play late in the fourth quarter. He is a wild card. You don't know what you're going to get with him in a playoff series. He is very inconsistent with his efficiency. Is he a playoff riser or a dropper? I feel like Yawning Tears is always trying to troll. But then I talked to him on the phone when he had that debate with Jonathan Ng recently. And if you guys want to call in, and he seemed more reasonable, but this is another bad take. 877-520-1150, 877-520-1150. Terry said it's pretty obvious that Houston is the worst team among those 4 teams. I don't know if they're the worst talent-wise. A lot of this we're basing this off of is just straight-up inexperience. And I'm telling you, you never know what a team that athletic, with a coach that good, with young guys, pressure, bust pipes, makes diamonds, you don't know which way it's going to go. That's what worries me. So, yes, would I rather see Houston than the Lakers or Denver in the first round? Of course. Memphis looks like that's off the table now. But be careful what you wish for. Please. Yawning Tears said, Ime plus the young athletics guys scare me more than Denver because Zoo does help slow down Jokic a good amount, not trolling. I respect the different takes. I would respect more informed ones. I get that. I think there is an argument for Denver based upon, look, this season, again, the devil you know, this season, they're 20th defensively. I thought Russ made such a big difference there. They're about where they were last year offensively. They're 4th. You know more of what you're getting with Denver. What you're getting is the best player in the league, though, in Nikola Jokic. And it sounds a little bit crazy to say we want Jokic over who's the best player on Houston. I mean, Amen Thompson is the most talented, but they don't have a clear pecking order. Bastion's just bastioning it up as usual. Houston is a free series. There's no free series in the first round. Jomo said, Adam, I really enjoy your show. With that being said, Lakers will be an easy matchup. Ben Simmons can guard 1 through 5. Like, this whole Ben Simmons can guard 1 through 5 thing, guys, he's not the same defender that he used to be. He's not. How often has he guarded 1 through 5 so far as a Clipper? How often did he do that in Brooklyn? Again, Houston's youth and inexperience is really, I guess, lack of offense on the season, but they've been better in offensive rating as of late. They're still 11th on the season while having the 4th best defense. I mean, Houston has a better net rating this season than Denver. They're 4th. Denver is 8th. But you keep going to that same well of, oh, they're inexperienced. Give me the inexperienced team. I'm just saying, be careful. Be careful what you wish for. Because some of those young guys might prove to have a pair. You know what I mean? And they will be playing with house money. Houston is a year ahead of where everybody thought they would be. I thought they would be a play-in team this season. maybe the 6th seed. They're second right now. They're not that little engine that could just punching above their weight. Like they've been punching above their weight all year. Their defense is legit. Their offense has played so much better, and now they're 11th in offensive rating on the season. The Clippers are 0-3 against them. None of those games they had Kawhi. I'm not putting a ton into those. It's just closer than you'd think, is my point. Facing Houston rather than Denver, rather than the Lakers. I think Law Murray said recently on here he'd rather see Denver or the Lakers. I put a lot of stock into his opinion. It's well informed. He watches everything. The Grizzlies, you can want them to win. You can want them to end up in the 3 spot or the 2 spot. I think that ship has sailed. I think Memphis looks cooked. We just heard from Jaren Jackson Jr. talking about it could be worse. We could be homeless. Like,
It can always be worse.
when you have to go there, things are bad. He's not wrong, but things are bad there. Free TV. What a foolish comment. People could have said that about OKC last year. Then Denver handled them pretty easily. Houston is a year away. Denver didn't play OKC in the playoffs last year, free TV. That information is free on the internet. OKC lost to Dallas in the second round. Denver lost to Minnesota in the second round. So, free TV's comments, I mean, it's not a timeout, even though he said for a while that Clippers are better without Kawhi. Now he says this. Oh, not Denver. I meant Dallas. I would not say Ben is not good. That's not true. He has been solid for the Clippers. He has been. He's needed. Because he's a better backup 5 than Eubanks. And it's not just that he's their backup 5. It's that he's like a point center. He's a hybrid. On the offensive end, Ben Simmons makes a lot of sense for this team in these small ball lineups with him next to Batum, next to Kawhi, next to DJ, next to Bogey. That seemed to be a solidified start of the second quarter, start of the fourth quarter lineup for Coach Lue, and it has been working. But it's only been 22 minutes so far. And seeing it against Brooklyn doesn't tell me a ton about how good or how bad that lineup can be. Bro, free TV, you didn't mistype and put Denver instead of Dallas. Like, that's not a typo. You typed in Denver. You didn't go from D-E and you meant to put in D-A-L-L-A-S. Come on now. Ruby says, I don't want to play Doncic in the playoffs in the first round. No Doncic and no Jokic. I can totally understand that. The lineups with Simmons and Zoo have been good. I'll look up that 2-man lineup data here in a second. Free TV, it's a show. I'm having fun. It ain't that serious.
It can always be worse.
It could always be worse. But, I mean, you did spam this chat over and over again for like 2 weeks. So if I give you a little bit of crap, it's all good. Have fun with it. You're one of the characters here. It's good to have you in a way. Co said, happy Tuesday, Adam. Happy Tuesday. Goofy said, quick question. Do you think Denver is also favorable due to the inconsistency of Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. in the playoffs last year, or is that going to translate? That's interesting. They are kind of their ceiling raisers. If those guys play well, they become a different team. A lot of it with Aaron Gordon is just playing off of Jokic and the no-look passes and the crazy eyes in the back of his head passes he gives to Aaron Gordon in the dunker spot. They have great chemistry out there. So, we've seen the standings. Currently, Denver's in the 3 spot. Houston's in the 2 spot. Rockets don't play tonight. Denver does, and they're hosting Minnesota. I think we're all rooting for Denver there. Who are you rooting for between Memphis and Golden State? I'm giving up on Memphis staying in as a top 6 team, and I'll tell you why. It's not just because they're 3-7, their last 10 games, and they've lost 3 in a row. It's not just because of what Jaren Jackson Jr. said post-game. It could be worse. We could be homeless.
It can always be worse.
It's because they have the 14th toughest schedule left. They got game against Denver tonight. Excuse me. They have a game against Golden State tonight. They still have a game remaining against Denver. They have a game against Minnesota left. They have a game against Detroit left. Their schedule is tough. They just fired their head coach. They're in disarray. A lot of turmoil going on with Memphis. Sometimes guys can band together, but when I heard that from Jaren Jackson Jr. last night, I don't see this as a group that's rallying. Maybe they win tonight. They win tonight against Golden State. I might feel differently about it. But they lose this game on the second night of a back-to-back to the Warriors. And what's the status of Steph Curry, by the way? They lose this game, though. I think Memphis is sliding. I think they're sliding out of the top 6. They lose this game tonight. I feel pretty strongly about that. And the Clippers have the tiebreaker over them. So I would think, while they do have the tiebreaker over Golden State, you'd want them to win over Memphis tonight, because that gives a better opportunity to open up 2 spots to be had. The 5 spot and the 6 spot in the West. We thought it was just 3 teams fighting for the 6 spot between Golden State, Minnesota, and your LA Clippers. But now, if Memphis is falling out, that opens up another possibility, another path to get into a 7-game series and stay out of the play-in. That's how I see it, guys. You can tell me what you think. 877-520-1150. 877-520-1150. Love to take your phone calls, even Yanni Tears. I do think he did about as good of a job you could, arguing his hockey line shift. You know, I think it's a little bit theoretical and fantastical. Is that the word I was looking for? This Clippers team, we get to hate watch tonight. We get to hate on other teams. Maybe not hate watch, but we get to be haters and root against this team or that team. That guy Spencer said Golden State needs to lose. Terry says, I want the Grizzlies to win. Warriors will lose other games. Planet said, I prefer Golden State to win. The Grizz free fall needs to commence. Here's the thing. If the Grizzlies win this game, it's a big game for them. Maybe they figure it out. They get up off the mat. If they lose, I think it could break them. So I'm looking at it like, let's keep the Grizzlies losing and falling out. Because if they win, it could give them some momentum. And Golden State, well, they have the 10th toughest schedule left. So even if they lose this game, they still got to play the Rockets. They still got to play Denver. They still got to play the Lakers. They still got to play us, the final game of the regular season. There are other ways to jump ahead of them. Like the Clippers can make their own luck maybe winning that final game up in San Francisco, and that's their path to staying out of the play-in. Yeah, Zubot's talking about hating on teams. Why don't I have that soundbite? I'm going to have to find that for future shows. I got this one for sure.
It can always be worse.
I think I'm rooting against Memphis tonight. I think I have to. Let's continue this tailspin for them and leave them no hope of staying in the top 6. Because there's other ways to jump ahead of the Golden State Warriors. The Clippers also have the tiebreaker over them. They also have a game left against them. And then Denver needs to win over Minnesota. I don't think there's any argument there. For 2 reasons. 1, it'll put the Clippers ahead of Minnesota tonight. 2, it'll open up that possibility of the Denver Nuggets passing Houston, and therefore the Rockets could be in that 3 spot. So if the Clippers do get 6th, there is your first round series. Be careful what you wish for. I gave plenty of reasons why it could be a problem taking on Houston, but all things considered, I think I'd still rather see them than LeBron and Luka or Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. It's close, though. It's really close. I don't like any of the options, but I'll tell you what option I really don't like. Having to get out of the play-in. All right. So the question of this episode was regarding Dunn or DJ in the starting lineup. Unknown points something out right now that I think is relevant. It's about the other team and matching up with them. Okay, cool. First, I just want to bring you this. The Clippers are 11-3 their last 14 games. Over that time, they have the 4th best offense and the 5th best defense and the 3rd best net rating in the league. Great to see. They figure things out. They have matched their great defense with a much better offense now that Kawhi is back and looking like himself. And Kawhi, by the way, guys, in March was awesome. The ramp up went just about exactly as Law Murray said it would. By March, he needs to turn into an all-NBA guy. He needs to get back to playing superstar basketball. So here are the numbers for Kawhi in March. We're not talking about 5 games now. We're talking about a total of 13 games. He averaged 25 points on 52% shooting, 40% from 3, 83% at the charity stripe. 7 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals. Elite. Top 10, top 5 player type of stuff. And it's a healthy sample size of 13 games. I mean, this includes him going 8 of 22 last night. Who cares? He went 5 of 10 in the second half and made those 2 crucial buckets to start the 4th quarter in Orlando. Sometimes it is about the volume with superstars. It is about them still relying on their bread and butter, and Kawhi knocking down that fadeaway over Franz Wagner to start the 4th quarter, knowing he can hit that shot and get to it when he needs to. Or going at a rookie and double team comes late from Franz and then he gets the push shot right afterwards. Sometimes it's about having that superstar level confidence, knowing the next shot's going in anyways. I'm having a rough night. He started 3 of 13. And then I think after that, he would have been 6 for his last 10. Or 5 for his last 9. Yeah. 21 points. They were tough. Tough buckets to get. The difference between him and James Harden, and this is why, a month ago I was saying they need to play through Kawhi more. That will raise your ceiling. The reason I said that is because Kawhi has more of an unguardable bag that translates to the playoffs, where he can hit shots over any type of defense, over any type of defender, and there's nothing you can do about it. Mid-range mastery. While James Harden, if the three's not falling, if a quick defender's in front of him, he can't get by him as well. Certainly not as well as he used to. He is a little bit easier to defend. Doesn't mean he can't be great. His playoff history is up and down, but there are certainly plenty of ups. But Kawhi, his game translates better to the postseason. Kawhi sees through defenders. There's nothing you can do. Young Tears want to know, who do you think is the better coach between Malone or Ime? I don't know. That's tough. But Ime scares me. They both scare me. I know the Lakers could pass Houston. I know they could. I think they still have one more game left against them. And that currently they have the tiebreaker over them. But if Houston wins the last game against the Lakers, and they do play once more, that's a game in LA on April 11th. That's probably what's going to determine it. If the Lakers are the 3 seed, the 4 seed. It's right after they play the Clippers on April 9th next week. They get a day off, then they play the Lakers. I know. I don't want to see Houston lose. We're trying to thread the needle here. I don't want to see Houston lose too many. Let's see what their upcoming schedule is. So, Houston has the 4th toughest schedule left. The Lakers the 3rd. Houston still has OKC, Denver, the Lakers, Golden State, and the Clippers. Lakers still have OKC twice. Houston, Golden State. And a game in Dallas that's going to be huge. Luka's return. It is going to be extremely close. And you look at the current standings, I think the Lakers are 2 games back of them, but they do have the tiebreaker as of right now. They still have another game against them. Houston wins that. I believe they would have it. They are 2.5 games back. Houston's 49-27. Lakers are 46-29. So the Rockets' immediate schedule here, I gave you some of the highlights of who they're playing, but they got Utah at home, April 2nd. That's Wednesday. Then Friday, OKC at home. Then 3 games on the road. None of them are back-to-back, though. They don't have any back-to-backs left. But those 3 games on the road at Golden State on Sunday, next Wednesday against the Clippers, Friday against the Lakers, and then they close at home against Denver. So you want them to lose so Denver passes them and pushes them into the 3, but you don't want the Rockets to fall, I guess, to the 4. If you're chasing Houston, as everybody seems to believe that is the lesser evil. Absent has a different mindset. Get to the 5 seed and take out the Lakers in the first round. It could happen. That 4-5 matchup. Any chance the Warriors decide if we get the 6 they're playing? Yes, of course there's a chance of that. How could there not be? Clippers have 7 games left. I predicted that it would come down to that a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, they could still catch the 5 seed because Memphis keeps slipping. The 5 spot is on the table for the Clippers. We'll circle back to what I was trying to get to with Dunn and DJ here in a second. What else do we got here? Okay, I think we've exhausted the standings update for you guys. Sorry, I haven't eaten anything today and just got back from a workout. I'm trying to hold it together. Trying to cut a little bit of weight. That Mexican Nara said, so the Rockets game is a must win. It will help bring them down to the 3 seed, which is the ideal matchup, assuming we are the 6 seed. Yes, I think the consensus is not everybody, but the majority of fans want the Rockets in the first round. Never know. That could be very tough. Black Logic is being a hater here. Rugby said Ime is very good. Coach Patty of the Spurs, of course. Rugby is just all Patty Mills talk all the time. Kind of love it. Yeah, Zoo averaged, 16-11 last year in that first round series? I mean, he was their best player, I think, overall. It was between him and James Harden. Terrence Mann was very good. Paul George, I would say, was their 4th best player relative to expectations. The Zoo and Ben lineups. We'll check on that data here in a second here. Too many here's. I think this is accurate. Brett said, no matter who is 3, Clippers have to aim for 6 if possible. And it is possible. It's very possible. You just got to stay out of the play-in, guys. You do, because it'll give them more rest. And God forbid you lose that play-in game to Minnesota, and then you're in a winner-take-all game against Dallas or Sacramento or maybe Phoenix, but they're probably out of it. What is this? Rugby said, what about tanking until the rest of the season and getting OKC in the first round? Ha, ha, ha. Who the hell finds that funny? Wild. Sue better get more than 10 shots in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm with you there. Melvin Powell is obsessed with Kris Dunn. We'll talk more about him in a second here. I hope he gets the whistle he needs. We have a difference of opinion with Old Dirty Dasher. Dunn also needs to hit his 3-point shots, or else he's Russell Westbrook with better defense out there. That stuff matters in a playoff series. They're already doing it in the regular season, sagging off of him, so they will do it in a playoff series. The final game against the Warriors is 12:30 tip. Ooh, I didn't realize that. F said the schedule makers did everything they could, to be honest. It's impressive the Clips made it to where they did. Yeah, 5 seed is still on the table because Memphis is free falling. I don't think Kawhi's sitting the last game against Golden State if they need that game to get out of the play-in, Renzo. I'm just going to point that out right now. Rugby wants me to eat. No, I'm good. Yeah, the T-Wolves do have the easiest schedule remaining. Outside tonight's game in Denver, they have a game left against Memphis. They have a game left against Milwaukee, but then 2 against Brooklyn, a game against the Jazz, a game against the 76ers. So that should be right there 4 wins for them. If they get 2 of the other 3 games against Nuggets, Grizzlies, Bucks, then we're talking they finished the season 6-1. Can the Clippers do that? The problem is, even if the Clippers do that, they have the same record. Minnesota will have the tiebreaker. So you need Minnesota to lose twice. They could. I think Denver's going to win this game tonight, but Minnesota has played them tough. Ask Mike Malone. They get up for those games. They could lose to Memphis, but I'm making the argument Memphis is free falling. They could lose to the Bucks, but Dame dealing with a blood clot. Hope he I hope Dame Dollar is okay because he's one of my favorite players ever. Never like hearing that news. Just brutal for Milwaukee. I don't know, guys. Minnesota could go 6-1. They could. That's scary. What else do we got here? Rugby said, yeah, let's avoid playing games. Anything can happen in a one-off game. Yes. Wolves always smoke us. Let's avoid that, says Renzo. I get you were joking. Was it really that funny, though? Mark said, a lot of the teams from 5 to 8 play each other, so some will fall. Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to lose those games. Melvin's backing up his Kris Dunn take. Actually, Kris Dunn might shine offensively in the playoffs, especially with it becoming more of a half-court style of play. He's really strong getting to the rim and using his floater. I mean, maybe once a game at most. It's not like he's getting 5 of those or anything. But you'll defend him no matter what, Melvin, I've noticed. I think there are some flaws to his game that teams are going to try to poke at. Neil said Memphis better win today against Golden State. See, I don't know. I think I want them to lose. Absent wants the Lakers in the first round. Yes, the Pelicans have shut down Zion and CJ. Zach Lowe is the GOAT. Good to see he's back. Clay said, some of y'all want Lakers. Remember Luka Doncic, the biggest villain for us? Yeah, he's the Clippers' nemesis. And him next to LeBron, I don't find that very appetizing. But if it happens, it happens. And the Clippers can win that series. Yeah, the Clippers have 7 games back. And 2 of them, and 2 back-to-backs left in these last 7 games. Of course. They had the most back-to-backs this season, I think, at 17, after they had one added. Jay Bose said Dunn needs a Terrence Mann-like playoff performance. 6 threes after being left open all game. Renzo said, I don't know why people want the Lakers. Do they not realize Clippers will get no home court advantage? I think the Clippers will do well at Intuit Dome, but doing well might mean 50-50, half and half. The wall should only be Clippers fans, but Lakers fans are going to infiltrate Intuit Dome if there's a postseason series between them. We've talked about the T-Wolves ejections. Black Logic said they're still going to beat Denver. Terry said, it's still a little bit early to look for the matchup. So many unknowns. We just win games and talk about this conversation maybe over the weekend. That's fair. I just wanted to update. You're right. So much is up in the air. We'll see how it goes. Depends if Dunn is hitting his three-pointers. DD. If he's hitting threes, he'll play more. He'll play less. Could be much less. Yeah, Mann was awesome against Luka. I think he went like 1 for 12 off of matchup data from 3 against him last season in that playoff series, and he shot 38%. Actually, if you look at the matchup data, 38% from the field. And Mann shot, 45% from 3. Might have been 46. Mann was good, but they have guys who can do that. I don't know if they can do that good. Luka also was banged up and off shooting series, you could say, but the Clippers did a good job against him. They can still do a good job. Still feels like hell. Here's the thing. Houston has been much better offensively the last month. Way better. Their offense was a real problem, and they've gotten way better, guys. Okay. Yeah, Jamal is a playoff performer. So you got to count that when you talk about a series against Denver. Just count on Jamal Murray being good. They have great options to guard him, but Renzo said, is this the first time we see in a healthy Kawhi in a sold-out arena in the playoffs? I'm excited. That's what we're hoping for. I know Dime Droppers brought that up a lot. Yeah, last season, the arena was full, but Kawhi wasn't himself. Melvin said, "Yo, Adam, I'm just saying, do you think Ty Lue is asking Dunn to attack the basket or go ISO with the midi floater or dribble drive consistently? Like, seriously, do you think they're asking him to score? No, which is why your point of he'll be better in the playoffs. He's got this floater game. We're not talking about high volume. So I don't think that's some great differentiator that separates him from DJ in this conversation we're about to have." Jalen Green got Western Conference Player of the Week, and he scored 9 points yesterday, and they didn't play him in the fourth quarter. 877-520-1150 is the phone number. All right, let's talk about it. So I want to pull the lineup data with the starters with Dunn versus the starters with DJ, because this is a hot topic right now. And I did this recently on a show. I want to see what the updated data looks like now. I'm going to, spoiler alert, tell you this. They're both net positives. They're both good. The question is, who's better? Who should be playing more? And if it goes further than the numbers, for the reason you would play one guy over the other. Let's see what the numbers say.
I don't know. What do the numbers say? Shit.
Kawhi wants to know what the numbers say, as do I. First, Kris Dunn. Next to James Harden, Kawhi, Norman Powell, and Ivica Zubac, they have an offensive rating of 114.1. It's not great. It's like middle of the pack. A defensive rating of 109.4. It's good. It's not 106, like the best defensive rating in the league with the OKC Thunder, but that's a very good defensive rating. The offensive rating, though, thought it might be a little bit higher. So, what about, as I look for this number in the 5-man lineup data, Derek Jones Jr. instead of Kris Dunn in the starting lineup. And I should say, we've gotten 179 minutes of this lineup that I just talked about, with Kris Dunn next to those four guys. So luckily the data is actually, these lineups are right next to each other, because minutes-wise, they're very close. Kris Dunn has played 179 minutes next to James Harden, Norman Powell, Kawhi, and Big Zoo. DJ has played 185, which makes this comparison, I'm not saying it's apples to apples, but it's pretty close. DJ has played 185 minutes next to those four players. They have a substantially better offensive rating of 125.1 and a pretty significantly better defensive rating of 102.0 for a plus 23.1 net rating, as opposed to the plus 4.8 net rating with Kris Dunn. The metrics are telling you DJ should be the starter. They played 6 more minutes with him next to those guys. The offensive rating is better significantly. The defensive rating is better. Both are. Now, I want to see what the plus minus is and what guys are shooting with those two different lineups. How those teams are performing out there shooting wise. Let me pull the parameters back up. All right. So, first, the Kris Dunn lineup. Plus 4 net rating. They are, in their 179 minutes, a plus 19. It's not bad. They're shooting 49% from the field together and 36% from three, with Kris Dunn next to the rest of the starters with a plus 19. With DJ and their 185 minutes, they are a plus 96. They're shooting 54%, 6% higher from the field. They're shooting 47%, over 10% better from three together. What about assist to turnover ratio? Well, the guys with Kris Dunn, 112 assists, 53 turnovers. The guys with DJ, 131 assists, 48 turnovers. And because the minutes are so close, I think it's worth bringing these things up. What about steals? 39 with the group with Kris Dunn, 45 with the group with Derrick Jones Jr. So by every metric, the numbers say they've been better with DJ. What I can't uncover is all the different opponent lineups that they went up against. Meaning, is it possible that Derrick Jones Jr. was out there next to James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, and Ivica Zubac next to worse teams, and therefore the numbers are a little bit inflated? Maybe. But 185 minutes is not nothing. We're getting a decent sample size here. So, what's the logic? Well, the first reason, or the first thing we should bring up is, I don't think Coach Lue is married to either of these lineups because he straight up said it'll be matchup dependent. But he has been leaning much more towards just starting Kris Dunn and bringing DJ off the bench. I still don't think he's married to either of these lineups. Matchup dependent. But one of the reasons he likes Kris Dunn out there, not just about his point of attack defense, but he's better bringing the ball up the floor than Derrick Jones Jr. And it takes more of the ball handling responsibilities off of the plate of James Harden, making life easier for him. Now, when that point was made, initially, Kawhi still wasn't back. With Kawhi there, the ball's in his hands a lot. He brings the ball up the floor a lot. Does that argument still hold as much weight for Kris Dunn being out there for that reason? I don't know. I don't think it holds as much. Is it still something? Sure. That's an advantage he has over Derrick Jones Jr. He's have a tougher time bringing the ball up the floor than Dunn. The other argument is, and this is more of an eye test thing because the numbers aren't matching it with them having a better defensive rating by 7 points per 100 possessions with DJ instead of Dunn, is that Kris Dunn is the better point of attack defender and can disrupt the offense from the start of the game. In theory, it makes sense. The numbers don't match that, though. They're saying they're a better team. They're a better defensive team with DJ out there. Even though Kris Dunn is a pest and he's a ball hawk. So, here's the thing, guys. Because I say Coach Lue, I don't believe is just going to stick with one guy over the other, especially if the numbers continue to trend in favor of Derrick Jones Jr. I think he's going to see that and that matters to him because he's brought up the analytics plenty of times before. He could still lean Kris Dunn to start games because he feels like there is something that goes beyond the numbers. He's unstatable with his defensive effort out there and just the way he flies around. And he truly believes over time that's more valuable for slowing down a team and stopping them from getting into their offense. And maybe he's got some numbers out there that says, well, teams are having to use up more of their shot clock when Kris Dunn is out there. It's taking them longer to get into their sets. Maybe. These aren't the end-all, be-all numbers. They aren't. They're not nothing, though, either. And I know Coach Lou does use this data. He's referenced it plenty. I think when the going gets tough, he's going to go with the hot guy. And a lot of this could come down to one factor. If Kris Dunn is not hitting three-pointers and is struggling to make teams pay for playing off of him, and the Clippers are out there playing 4-on-5 basketball on offense, where the other team has an extra defender because they're just leaving Kris Dunn wide open, I could see him having a pretty short leash on Kris Dunn. He hit a couple of threes yesterday. And in the month of March, Kris Dunn shot 29% from the outside. On the season now, he's at 31% from three. Meanwhile, DJ is having a career year from three. He's shooting above league average. His playoff shooting, where he was at 37% last season in that playoff run with Dallas to the finals, even though he struggled minorly in the finals, and that's included in the 37% I just mentioned, it's carried over. He's shooting 41% from three in the month of March, DJ. Hit a big one in the fourth last night off a great feed from Kawhi. And he's shooting 36.7% from three on the season. 37%. It's made his contract one of the better offseason signings. I said then, a lot of this is going to depend on his three-point shooting and if it translates to the regular season from last year's postseason on lower volume. And it did. Sometimes you strike gold like that. You get a guy who's 27, he's coming into his prime. He has more to his game than he's been able to show off in his career, and you get him at the right time. And that's what it looks like with DJ. So he's making teams pay much more. They have to respect his three-point shooting. That helps the offense greatly. Like, Mark, you can say they're leaving DJ open, but when he's open, he's hitting them at about 6% higher of a clip. That is significant. That is meaningful. And considering that starting group also has a better defensive rating by 7 points per 100 possessions with him over DJ, I don't think you can make the argument that with him over Dunn, I should say, I don't think you can make the argument that you're getting some big drop-off defensively and Kris Dunn is making up for his lack of shooting because defensively they're so much better with him on the floor instead of DJ. Well, they're not. The numbers don't say it. But there's more to this argument. There's a lot more to peel back here. Because what about the second unit that we've seen as of late with this Clippers team? And the fact that DJ has been able to thrive starting or coming off the bench. And what if this isn't so much about having the most optimal starting lineup, and we're making too big of a deal out of who's starting when in yesterday's game, 5 minutes into the first quarter, when Kris Dunn was guarding Franz Wagner, by the way, he can guard up like that. He brought in DJ for him 5 minutes in. Maybe we're making too big of a deal out of who's starting, and you have to look at the bigger picture. Because there's another lineup in the second unit that looks like they're just starting to put it together. Now, the sample size isn't large enough to take too much away from this. But it's not like the starting lineup with Dunn is bad. They're good. The numbers say that. They're just not as good as having DJ in there by a significant margin with about the same amount of minutes. DJ with the starters, the numbers say they're significantly better than Dunn with the starters. Again, I don't have all the data that will tell you who they went up against and if some of those numbers are skewed because DJ was there at the right time when they went on some big runs against some bad teams, and Dunn has been unfortunately on the other end of that, where they're putting him in with those four guys and going up against better teams, and therefore the numbers are skewed a little bit. That could be the case to some degree, but we're talking about over 150 minutes. But there's a second unit lineup now. It's only played 22 minutes. It's only played together in 5 games, but they were starting to look really good. And it's Kawhi leading them next to Nico, Bogey, Ben Simmons, and Derek Jones Jr. Is this the reason he wants DJ coming off the bench? He likes that grouping because Ben and DJ have had a nice connection going back to the Atlanta game where he found him on back-to-back transition plays going towards the hoop. In 5 games and 22 minutes, that 5-man unit, that second unit with Kawhi leading them to start off second quarters and fourth quarters, and we really saw them thrive. Obviously, it was against Brooklyn, but to start the fourth quarter against the Knicks, they were really good. Some of that was Kawhi greatness, but they have an offensive rating of 147.5, and a defensive rating of 102.4, plus 45 net rating. Does Coach Lue think DJ's better there than Dunn would be? Because he's got a little bit more size and 6'6". It feels like he's 6'7", 6'8" because of the way and he doesn't want to disrupt the second unit to better the starting unit when they're still good with Dunn. Could that be the logic here? Is that fair? I think it's something to look at. It's not nothing. Free TV said misspeaking. Misspeaking and mistyping. Like typing. Denver instead of Dallas. I think there's a significant difference there. But we'll give it to you, Free TV, because thanks for the super chat. There's a chance we're making too much out of a starting lineup. As Fahad says, who would you rather close? Isn't that what matters in the end more than anything? Who are the closing lineups? Well, yesterday it was Dunn, and he made one of the biggest plays of the game, and that was getting not one but 2 offensive rebounds to get it to Norman Powell, who by the second 3 he took, he knocked it down. Huge. Is Coach Lue always going to rely on him? I don't think so. We've seen DJ close games. I think some of that is off of feel. Because now you're getting to the end of the game, you see how both guys are playing, and then you can ride the hot hand. There's a difference. I'm not saying starting games is insignificant. Adam might be a bit of a troll, man. I wouldn't take it personally. Yeah, you really shouldn't. I'm not too bad of a troll, am I?
Not too bad, I hope.
I like trolling the trolls sometimes. Free TV was definitely, I don't even know if he was a troll, but he seemed sincere with his, they're better without Kawhi stuff. Free TV said there's a significant difference between Dunn and DJ. They only both start with D, just like Denver and Dallas start with D. Otherwise, significant difference. I don't know exactly what you mean there, but here's the thing. Again, the perception would be, oh, Dunn is the better defender. You want to set your identity to start off the game, and therefore it's Kris Dunn starting over Derek Jones Jr. You want to flex on him with what you do best, which is play great defense. The problem there is the starter's defensive rating is significantly better with DJ instead of Dunn. So can you really make that argument? Eye test might tell you, well, Kris Dunn just plays so much harder out there than DJ, or he's better at guarding point of attack, but the numbers don't line up with that. They say they're better with DJ. We've seen Coffee close over both, but he's out of the 9-man playoff rotation. We already know that. Doesn't mean he won't play in the playoffs. If somebody's struggling, Coffee will get his shot. I think that second unit could be affecting or could be playing into Coach Lou's decision. He likes that second unit with DJ. Here's what I would say, though. That second unit lineup of Batum, Kawhi, Simmons, DJ, and Bogey, I think you could still get there even if you started Derrick Jones Jr. If DJ starts the first 5 minutes of the first quarter, just like we saw last night with Dunn starting the first 5 minutes and then DJ came in for him, why can't DJ start the first 5 minutes of the first, come out, and then come back in to start the second? I don't see that as a problem. Ralph is echoing Petros and money. Not much. How much attention do teams pay to Dunn? Not much. A lot of this is about if Dunn is knocking down threes at a high enough rate to justify him being out there. Otherwise, he's Russell Westbrook with better defense. And we saw what Russ did in that playoff series last year, the last 5 games going 8 of 42. Now, good news is Dunn is not going to force it if it's not there and take that many shots, so he's not going to hurt you as much, but he also has to take the shots that they're leaving him open to take in the corners from 3. That is necessary. That is a prerequisite. If he's not hitting threes, I mean, I don't think he can go 2 straight bad games in the playoffs from 3 and still be starting game 3. I don't think he can. It's that quick where you have to adjust if a guy doesn't have it. Because it's not like we haven't gotten a sample size this season of him from distance. Dunn is shooting 31%, right at his career average, too. So, mistyping and misspeaking, 2 different things, Free TV. But I'll take the $10. I appreciate you, man. I mean, you can keep criticizing and trolling me all you want. Who's the better rebounder, passer? Well, the better passer is Dunn. And that's why I said I think part of the thought process from Coach Lou was if you have Dunn out there and Kawhi, well, there's 2 guys that can bring the ball up the floor and it's less taxing for James. Even Norm could bring it up the floor here and there. But that idea of the initial reason to put Kris Dunn in the starting lineup was he wanted, first of all, Terrence Mann was struggling, but he also wanted another ball handler to alleviate the burden of James Harden and take less pressure off him and his legs. But with Kawhi back, I don't think you have that same argument now. I don't. Kawhi's going to bring the ball up a ton in the playoffs. Kawhi's going to initiate the offense too. And it might just be initiating an ISO for himself. Like, if you don't know the difference between typing something and having a different name pop into your head when you're talking about 2 different guys back and forth for 20 minutes versus typing Denver or Dallas. Free TV, we all know you thought Denver beat OKC in the playoffs last season. We all know that, man. You're not able to escape this. You typed it. So there's one other lineup I want to talk about. And I've been mentioning this since the beginning of the season. While everybody was talking about how, well, Adam, the Clippers, they didn't get that power forward. I kept saying, oh, they have one who they have stowed away, who they have been hiding for a long time. They haven't exhausted him, overplayed him this season. They've been keeping it under wraps. They have a power forward who can start in a playoff series next to Ivica Zubac because this guy can shoot. You had to have someone who can shoot and stretch the floor, or else it's going to bog down your offense, which is why I keep saying Kris Dunn can be problematic there. I'm talking about Nico Batum. In a playoff series against the right matchup, even if it's not to start off the playoff series, because you can adjust as it goes along. Nico Batum is their ace in the hole. Nico, St. Nick could save them in a playoff series by giving the ability to play bigger out there. He can start next to James, next to Norm, next to Kawhi and Big Zoo. But what does the data say about Nico next to those four guys? We got it with Dunn. We got it with DJ. What if it's Nico instead? And how many minutes have we gotten so far this season? Is the sample size large enough to draw any real conclusions from? I know he's good next to Ivica Zubac. I know Nico can make most lineups work. He's a super glue guy. A glue guy. That's what he always wanted to be when he first came over to the Clippers. Change who he was, change the way he plays a little bit. Nico Batum is incredible. One of my favorite players. As I stall to try to find this lineup data. Apparently they haven't played together too much this season because I'm going further and further scrolling down the 5-man lineup data. And I just wonder if Coach Lue intentionally has been playing it this close to the vest. Some of it is obviously because, well, they haven't had Kawhi for the majority of the season. We understand that. But when Nico was starting, remember that first game at Into a Dome against Karl Anthony Towns and he started him? I said, oh, I could see this coming in a playoff series. I've been talking about this. Makes sense to me. I'm here for it. I don't ever worry about Nico Batum next to any combination. Honestly, he's that good. He is just a linchpin to lineups. He makes it all work. He can make anything work. He's always a positive out there, is what I'm trying to say. He rarely loses his minutes. That stuff is huge. And it's because of his versatility. Man, they haven't thrown this lineup out much, unless I'm missing. Had many opportunities to show this lineup, but I'm of the belief, and maybe this is biased because I thought at the beginning of the season this is something that they would go to, and I want to end up being right about this, but I think Coach Lue has been holding this back. I really do. I think there's something intentional here. He doesn't want to put it on tape for opponents to get ready to adjust to this. And I mean, he really doesn't want to put it on tape. I am still scrolling here. Please, for the love of God. Page 4. As I go through the lineup data, searching, combing the desert, like in Spaceballs. We ain't found shit. Where art thou? Nico, next to Kawhi, Powell, James, Big Zoo. I got him next to all these other guys. Except the one I'm really looking for, of course. I'm sure some of you are smarter than me and could more easily filter it down to find out what they have done together. I am assuming they have played some minutes together because I'm pretty sure I just saw it yesterday. Good God, Adam, you absolute dumbass. You should have looked for this earlier today because you knew it would be a hard find. Oh, Nico next to Kawhi, next to Ivica Zubac, next to Terrence Mann, next to Kevin Porter Jr. That's not what I'm looking for. Give myself a damn aneurysm here. Probably giving some of you guys one. Let's go to page 5 to try to find this 5-man unit. I probably missed it by now. I'm going to have to go all the way back. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Nico, Kawhi, Kris Dunn, Drew Eubanks. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Nico, Norm, Mo Bamba. Why? Maybe I should check the chat because you guys might already have it here. Can anybody help me here? Bastion's not helping. Free TV is getting a timeout for this. I didn't say he wouldn't help or make no impact against OKC. I said I saw the logic of they needed offense. I'm sorry, Bastion. Or was that free TV? I just gave it timeout. I mean, it's always one of those two guys. What if I filter it down like this? Norm just came back. I'm going to take it from March till now. For the love of God. Oh, there's still 5 pages to look through. Set the parameters. Find the damn lineup, Adam. Nico, Kawhi, Ben Simmons, Eric Jones. I talked about that one. This is something that Petros would call spiraling radio death. Here's a nice lineup. Nico, Harden, Kawhi, Ivica Zubac, Derek Jones Jr. 13 minutes, offensive rating 163, defensive rating 82.1. Plus 80 net rating in 13 minutes. Seems good. Maybe try that one out. I don't know. I don't hate that either. If you need a little bit more length in there, pause. Is it such a small sample size that we're talking about here with Nico? I mean, I thought I just saw them use it last night, and that could be my next parameter to set. I thought I just saw it. Nico, Harden, Kawhi. Okay, Kris Dunn instead of Ivica Zubac. That doesn't help me. I am banging my fucking head against the wall trying to find this godforsaken lineup that I actually think is going to be really good. But right now, it's the bane of my existence. Where is fucking Waldo? Where's Poldo? Where's this lineup? I'm getting down to like lineups that have been used for 4 minutes. I got it! Eureka! Nico Batum, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac have played in a total of 2 games for 4 minutes. They have an offensive rating of 75. Hold up. Don't worry. It gets better. They have a defensive rating of 11.1. So even though their offensive rating is 75, their defensive rating is 11.1, a net rating of 63.9 in 4 minutes. They've really only played together for 4 minutes? You guys think that's accurate? It's got to be. Jonathan was going to help, but he was on a work call. Someone said he used the Swartz as I brought up Spaceballs Come in the Desert. We ain't found shit. No, I found it. I took this from March 1st to April 1st. I don't think they could have used it any other time because Norm, he just got back and Kawhi just got back. Am I really going to go further? Do I dare? I dare. I'm taking it to January 1st. 4 minutes is not enough. Okay. I think I can figure this out, though. It may not be 4, but it definitely isn't going to be like 80. I can at least go past 4 minutes here and just make sure that this lineup hasn't been used more. I know, guys. This is the most tedious, stupid-ass thing I've ever done on this damn channel. I hate myself more than you could ever hate me right now. I have to know. I'm pedantic. I'm crazy like this. I have to know. Have they used it more than 4 minutes so far this season? I think they have. I think they have. I think this is gonna unlock the championship for us. That's how this is Raiders of the Lost Arks type stuff. Guys, this is too important. I can't turn down this challenge. I have to persevere. I have to know, was it more than 4 minutes? I think it has been. Maybe not by a lot, but every minute counts. Okay? Shit. It's been 5 minutes. Nico Batum, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac. This changes everything. Now, on the season, I know it's on the entire year now, this lineup has an offensive rating of 54.5 and a defensive rating of 33.3, a net rating of 21.2 on the season. I'm telling you, Coach Lou has been holding this back. He's been holding it back. He knows how valuable it's going to be. He knows this is going to cure diseases. That's how important this lineup is. It's going to change everything. I'm telling you. You may think I'm crazy right now. This is going to change everything. Because Nico and Big Zoo play so well next to each other. And against a big team, they are going to do damage. How can I prove that to you? This should be easier to find. 2-man lineup data. Nico next to Big Zoo. Got it. Bam. Didn't take long at all. How about them? How about them apples? Nico next to Batum on the season. This is 587 minutes together. They have an offensive rating of 113.5. Not amazing. But Nico next to Batum, Nico Batum next to Ivica Zubac, they haven't had a lot of time, I'm guessing, next to Kawhi. This is 2-man lineup data. Nico, Zoo. Offensive rating of 113.5 in 587 minutes and a defensive rating of 98.6. That is elite. That is incredible. A plus 14.9 net rating. You guys like that? You like that shit? That's what the numbers say, damn it. That's what I'm telling you. Coach Lou was looking at and being like, oh, I put Nico in the starting lineup. While you guys are talking about Dunn versus DJ, I got this ace up my sleeve of Nico next to those guys. And nobody's going to see it coming.
I don't know. What did the numbers say?
The numbers are good. The numbers are good. Is this a secret weapon? Secret weapons of the Luftwaffe? What was that game I played? That flight simulator on the PC in the late 80s, early 2000s. All right. Do I dare go into the James Harden, Nico, Zubats lineup data? Do I dare? The 3-man lineup data. I must know. I can't help myself. I need to know this too. Nico Batum next to James Harden and Ivica Zubats. Ooh, I like-y. In 378 minutes of these three guys on the court. 114.5 offensive rating. Solid. 97.5 defensive rating. 17.2 net rating. Let's go!
Put it up, Ben! Put it up, Ben! Put it up, Ben! Put it up, Ben!
When I get hyped, I just have to listen to Clavon.
I hate the Lakers. I hate the Lakers.
Even if it's totally irrelevant to what I was looking for. Nico next to James, next to Big Zoo, is very good. Do I dare go to the 4-man lineup data now? Nico next to James, next to Kawhi, next to Ivica Zubac. Should I do that? Should I? What about more 3-man? What about more 3-man? Nico next to James, next to Powell. He's a part of the starting lineup. This is relevant. Guess what this is? 191 minutes, 112.4 offensive rating. Not great, but the defensive rating is 93.1 for a plus 19.3 net rating. I'm telling you, this is it. This is everything. This is what Coach Lou has been looking at. All right. Now, what about 4-man lineup data? What about this? It's going to be less minutes. That's okay. It's going to be less. And I can put in the parameters. No. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm sorry. I'm getting obsessive compulsive here. What about ism? I need more. I need to confirm my hypothesis here that they have been holding back Nico all season to unleash him in the playoffs next to these other awesome players like Nico next to James Harden, Kawhi, and Ivica Zubac in 105 minutes. Offensive rating of 116.6, defensive rating of 103.3 for a net rating of 13.3. Let's go!
I hate the Lakers. I hate the Lakers. I hate the Lakers. I hate the Lakers.
Lakers won't see it coming. Here's another one. Nico next to Harden, next to Norm, next to Ivica Zubac. Offensive rating of 107.2 in 103 minutes. Not great. Defensive rating 96.4 plus 10. Make it plus 11 net rating. Consistently, we're seeing the defense be God tier with Nico next to James, Norm, Kawhi, Ivica Zubac. They just haven't played them all together for more than 5 minutes yet this season. But you look at all the different combinations here. Makes sense. It's going to work. Has to work. Will work. Do I have another 4-man one I want to throw in? Nico next to Mo Bamba. Let's go! Okay, no. Bottom line is Nico's always a positive. All right. Glad we got to the bottom of that. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Nico Batum is really good. And if you have to play bigger, and you will at times, you can start him at the 4. You got 3 options. Dunn, DJ, Batum. Do we care too much about starting lineups? Yes. Far too much. But it does matter to a degree. It does matter. Yeah, I went off a 5-minute sample size where their offensive rating was like 30, but their defensive rating was like 10. It's going to happen. Batum Battalion, stand up. St. Nick is going to save them with the rest of the starters in the playoffs for much more than 5 minutes. The French night. All right. I went through too many numbers.
I don't know. What did the numbers say? Shit.
Now I'm like that gif of the woman with the math problems floating around her. I took this way too far. Here's what you need to know. Clippers are 11-3 in their last 14 games, 8-1 in their last 9 home games, 5-1 in their last 6 road games, a top 5 offense and defense in their last 14 games. They are close to fully healthy and playing their best basketball at the right time with 7 games left. These are the things that matter most. Sorry about the language. I was getting upset. Scouring the frickin' earth to try to find that lineup data. I didn't know Coach Lou was that sly with it. Just 5 minutes of Nico next to the rest of the starters. I'm on to you, Coach. Great minds think alike. That's what this is, right? So funny, Kawhi. All right. I think we got Clips and Dip coming up later tonight. I'm Adam Osland. We're an hour and 42 minutes in. 179 straight days of Clippers talk. It has been. I'm a little exhausted. I go to the store, grocery shopping. Be good. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6:30 pregame from Into a Dome. Clippers taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. What do I usually play at the end here? Oh, yeah.
Off the air.